It's time again for Baker & Brown with Kim Baker, Paige Brown. We're back. Welcome to our third episode of Baker & Brown. I'm Paige Brown.
I'm Kim Baker with the Gallatin Chamber.
And today we're going to be answering some of your questions. And I have let Kim be the keeper of the questions and let her throw some at me. And actually some of them will be for you to answer, honestly. But I've seen a couple, but I think she's pretty much kept up with them. And so we're just going to jump in and answer some of the questions that you've been asking as you've watched our little broadcasts. And we really do appreciate you watching. It's been a lot of fun that people are interested in what we're talking about. We hope you will continue to do so, spread the information, and continue to ask questions, because if people will keep watching this, then we can get a lot more good information out there for you all.
Oh, yeah. And, if you know something, maybe we stumbled, I know last week we were talking about favorite places and things were called. And so if you know something we don't know, tell us, because we'd love to feature it and we'd love to talk about it. So I have my very fancy device here, and I'm just going to read some of them straight from the comments. So let's get some of them. A lot of positive feedback, so thank y'all for that.
Appreciate
thank you
that.
to everybody that has shared our first two episodes. This one, we'll just go big.
All right.
It says, rumor or not, Facebook is coming. Also, another larger company is coming. That company is nameless at this time for their privacy, I imagine. Can you shed some light on those rumors, please?
Well, and actually you might, with your economic development experience, you might want to weigh in as well, but I'll speak just from the position of being the mayor. When we have companies interested in Gallatin, and Gallatin is very blessed to have had many serious inquiries and people who have gone through, months and months of investigation over the years. We're very fortunate in that. But when they come to us, they let us know what they need, what kind of jobs they're bringing, what kind of money they're investing, and then they vet our community to see if we can meet their needs. And those needs are everything from utility requirements to workforce needs and that kind of thing. We have to sign non-disclosures. We can't share any information about them. We generally know very little information about them, and we use a project name. So related to the question that was asked, the National Business Journal did a story. Seems plausible to me, but I absolutely don't know anything. No. I cannot, as they say, cannot confirm or deny.
We don't know. And the name of the project is Project Woolhawk. Mm-hmm. And quite often these projects go on for a long time, and sometimes they don't even happen here. And
we go on somewhere else.
Yeah, and we never even know who they are or what they do. And there's things that we can find out along the way that gives us ideas and assumptions. Mm-hmm. And I think that's really what that's based on right now. That article that was released.
Yeah, it was an interesting article. And as you may have read in the Gallatin News last week or so, I said, Gallatin would be delighted to welcome Facebook, and we really, as our economic development agency director, James Fenton, me, our council, others who are engaged in various recruitment processes, it's very important for us to maintain our professional integrity and help these companies know that they can count on us to do what they need, and be good partners to them. And so the first piece of that is, honoring their requests as far as confidentiality goes. Of course, like I said, they make it easy because we just have a project name and we know what the requirements are. We have been working some big projects that could be very meaningful to our community based on what we know. We don't have any to announce yet. I am very hopeful that we might have one to announce in the next several months. So
stay tuned.
There's your answer on that. Yeah. More vagueness, I know.
Well, let's see. They liked all the websites that we featured on the first episode. Perhaps go remote and promote businesses so we can learn more. That we plan to do that. Would be fun. Let's see. Look forward to road construction updates, development updates, as well as new dining options that may be coming to our community. Well, healthcare is another area that seems to be expanding. So.
Okay, let's talk a little bit about new businesses coming, because this is a good opportunity to do that. There was a nice feature I saw online and in the paper about Grant's Kitchen coming here.
Yes, I'm very excited about that. And I have Mississippi roots, and if they have Mississippi food, we're set.
Right. And there are several new restaurants opening in the Kennesaw area.
Double Dogs,
and then Dobro.
Dos
Dos
Bros.
Bros? Okay.
It's like two bros.
Okay,
Dos
two
Bro-
brothers.
I think that's the way I've interpreted it.
So they're opening, and that's a good option. And then you have the one that just opened out by Vol State,
Yes. Wait, which one?
the sports bar.
Oh,
that's totally-
Oscars.
Oscars,
Yes,
thank you.
Oscars.
Thank you.
Oscars is great too,
Yeah, people-
and great place to catch a game and grab a drink or food. So that's fun too, and they're locally owned. And there's some other chains that are coming, right?
There are.
Yeah.
There are some chains that are coming, and there are some chains that are looking. I always get tickled on social media because, once a week somebody posts, what do we need in Gallatin? And besides the Costco and the Trader Joe's, who I'll just shoot straight and tell you, I don't think we fit what that market needs to fulfill their mission in the community. I'm very sorry.
We're not getting a Target either.
We're not getting a Target either, but that's because Target's not expanding and probably because of Amazon, but because they deliver. There are, I was talking about the things that people request, and it really, it runs the gamut. I hear Bunfish Grill a lot. I hear Golden Corral a lot.
Do you quick poll? Tell us below. Do you really love Golden Corral? That surprises me, but to each their own.
Well, and some people don't know that Golden Corral was actually here before.
Yeah.
Golden Corral, for those who don't know, is, as I recall, and I assume it's still the same concept, is a buffet, and then they have like a buffet salad bar, but you go through the line and you get steak and maybe potato and stuff.
I mean, it's a good buffet, but it's just, that's surprising to me that's
so many people request it. I get calls about it. I have what is the Italian restaurant? Not Sbarro. It's the drive-through. It's
Fazoli's?
Fazoli's.
I think we'd be a good market for Fazoli's.
I think we would be a great market for Fazoli's. And I have reached out to them. And it's interesting, and I don't know if this is, I don't think it's because I'm mayor. It's interesting when you reach out to these companies just randomly, they will reply to you and they will tell you
why.
Well, they'll tell you why, or they'll say like one of the things that should be coming soon. 2 years ago, they told me that hey, we're looking at your market, we're waiting on a franchisee to take it, and then somebody did. So.
While we're on this, let's talk a little bit about how, because I think there's a lot of questions that surround that, how does this happen? I know you've used the example, we don't just get a Sears catalog of restaurants and.
Oh yeah, I love
That's my favorite.
I always say we're not a Girl Scout cookie or order form. I don't get this list in the mail that I go through and say, oh, we would like. Yes, we'll take 3 check cashing places. Oh, another pawn shop would be great. No, we don't want any restaurants or hotels. I mean, that is not how it happens. This is private money. And as much as I love to influence how people spend their private money, I can't make them spend their private money to invest in Gallatin. That's why it's so important that we're an attractive community. We have the right demographics.
The census is important.
Census is important. And they have comfort in coming to a community where they can be successful. So we can tell them about our community, we can pitch our community, we can tell them why our community is different than what the numbers might show. For instance, Gallatin is actually what I like to call a hub. I mean, we have the data to support that. We have a north part of our county and counties to our east that come to Gallatin because they don't have any options where they live. We in Gallatin, we go to Hendersonville. I mean, I jokingly say, people in Hendersonville go to Nashville, people in Gallatin go to Hendersonville, and everybody else comes to Gallatin. And I think if we had more options in Gallatin, we would be able to support our own community more. I do think Gallatin is pretty good about supporting its local community.
No, they are.
But we don't have, you shop at Target. I know that about you.
I go to Target. I actually do a Hendersonville day once a week, and I go to Target, I go to Sam's, and then Hobby Lobby is usually on that list. And, I go pick up those things.
And I can't part with Marshalls and Ross.
Oh yeah,
I love Marshalls and Ross, and they're not here. So, but one of the most interesting things that I've learned from some of the shopping center experts that we've talked to in the past is that in different parts of the country, people have different mental thresholds about where they'll go to eat out and buy their supplies like they'd get at Dollar General or Walmart or Target. And in our area, it's about 30 minutes. And so what that means is people who are coming to this area from, say, North Sumner or Macon County or Trousdale County, they're not going to go to Hendersonville. They're only coming as far as Gallatin. And so that actually really makes us more pitch-worthy to some of these restaurants and retailers, and we keep trying to sell that. One of the big challenges that we've had, though, is because of the rapid growth in Middle Tennessee, our construction costs are so high. I talked to someone, it's probably been 9 months or a year ago now, and I talked to him about a store that I really want here. And he told me, we will be there, but it's not going to happen now because your construction costs do not fit the formula that we have to meet to be able to put our store in the community that is this size. And so that was interesting for me to learn. But I do think things are coming. I think they're trickling in, which is good. We don't necessarily need an onslaught because we want businesses to come here. We want them to be successful. We're getting a new Publix. That's
I'm excited about that.
That's a big thing. Yeah. That's a community our size with 2 Publixes.
I know. Hey.
And there's another grocery store that's coming that I can't share yet. But we're getting there. We're getting things to do. I mean, it wasn't that long ago Gallatin got its first movie theater. Oh, yeah. Not its first movie theater, because we had the Roxy at one time. We've had the Palace, but the first kind of mainstream with multiple screens kind of theater.
Well, and I think what's interesting, and a lot of folks don't understand this, and I didn't before I started doing what I do, is that there's actually a community profile, and we fit a certain profile, and then that's where we have the advantage to go and talk with these retailers and restaurants and tell them what's different about us. But then on the flip side, like the Trader Joe's of the world, they have a profile of what they're looking for and what an ideal community looks like for them, and that's why we just don't fit. And there's certain ways we have to grow.
We're not going to have 50,000 people within a mile of a location. And that's what they're requiring. And I don't think people in Gallatin want us to have a population that large or that dense. What other questions do you have?
Well, let's look. A lot of them are related to that. A lot of people want to know about new stuff, which we're going to try to tell you about as much new stuff as we can when it's...
Well, I remember someone asked what was going on Browns Lane. They're putting a sidewalk on Browns Lane. There are people that think sidewalks are a waste of money, but there are a lot of people that love sidewalks too. And from my perspective, sidewalks have a lot to do with safety. There was a lot of time growing up here and being around here in my younger life when you didn't see people walking. Now you see a lot of people walking, and some of it is because they want the exercise, but some of it is because they need to get from point A to B. People don't have driver's licenses. People don't have money for cars. People choose to walk. And so if they're going to do that, we want them to be safe. And so that means that all of the subdivisions that were built in Gallatin, for some reason, with no sidewalks, we're trying to go back in and get sidewalks in. I've actually rolled around the idea a lot of, could we do a sidewalk program where if a street wants a sidewalk and all their neighbors will agree to it, then the city would come put a sidewalk in. A lot of times when we put a sidewalk in, we actually have to acquire property, and that makes it far more expensive, even though the amenity we think is valuable. So if you've got a street of people and you all think that a sidewalk is a valuable amenity and you would like to have it, let us know, because I think that's something that we could do in the future. Anyway, it's a sidewalk on Browns Lane along with some other sidewalks.
Ooh, on Browns Lane?
On Browns Lane. Not all the way down yet, but we'll get there in time.
That's good, because there's a lot of folks that run and walk on that road.
Another question that I recall having seen, you may run across it, is something about, what are we doing to alleviate traffic? And I'll be frank, we're not going to alleviate traffic. What we have to do is manage traffic. I can remember the days when you could drive clear across Gallatin and see 2 other cars, and you're never going to have that again, except, I don't know, maybe in a snowstorm or something. So what we're going to do is better control traffic, control the flow of traffic. And I think probably the biggest traffic improvement that we're going to see is the synchronization of the stoplights, and that's been a long time coming. We've been honestly talking about it since my first year in office,
and it's really fascinating. Y'all probably would never get to, but maybe we could take a clip of what that looks like. And I know they used to be like before engineering moved, they had like a closet with all the lights, and it was really neat to kind of watch them actually engineer that process.
And now technology exists where you can have the traffic lights work much more efficiently because they can communicate with each other. And as I drove out towards Fall State last night and hit every single stoplight, I thought, this has to be driving people insane, because it certainly does me. But we should be alleviating that, and it should happen this year.
Here's actually a comment about traffic lights.
Okay.
And I think this, I don't know if we can answer this completely, but maybe you can. And if not, maybe we can tell folks where to submit these, like as they happen, like kind of complaints and issues. Something that needs attention is the red light at Highway 31 and Airport Road. It takes forever for the light to change, especially if you're trying to turn left onto Highway 31.
We had a conversation about that I don't remember if it was yesterday or the day before. I don't travel that direction, but the suggestion was, and I thought it was a very good one, that if we could add a right turn lane. So I think a lot of people that are up in the queue going to that light are actually turning right to head towards Bethpage and Westmoreland.
Makes sense.
And so if we could add a second lane there. So we were having that discussion within the city yesterday. But also you asked the question, what should people do to...
Yeah, like if that happens and they get home and they want to talk to somebody immediately or, file a complaint, who do they call?
Well, they can actually email me directly. It's paige.brown@gallatintn.gov. And I won't necessarily respond, but we will make sure that your email gets to the person that can file what the issue is and get some kind of response to you. There's also a feature on the Gallatin TN website. It's down at the bottom. It's called Ask Angela. And Angela, she doesn't love it being called Ask Angela, but Angela Burnside is actually in the mayor's office. She knows so much of what's going on in the community, and she knows who to contact about anything. And so when our communications director was putting together our website, he created Ask Angela. And so you can go to Ask Angela and submit a question or a concern or a problem, and she will get it to the right place as well.
Yeah, and we're always happy to help in our office too. I try to, what kind of like our motto in our office is, we try not to hang up the phone without giving somebody the answer they need or how to get to the answer they need. And I've got an Angela too. And funny, Jeff jokingly, when we realized that, he was like, oh, maybe I could direct part of the Ask Angelas to yours. And I said, no, not my Angela. But my Angela is very similar in that she knows all the things. She's like on top of what's going on in the community. So, yeah.
Well, and I appreciate what you said about, trying to help people, because I've always, whether I was in, private sector or nonprofit or in government, I really appreciate businesses that have kind of a no wrong door approach, because you will make somebody mad that quick if you can't help them find what they're looking for, because they're calling you because they need something.
They need it, yeah.
And we don't always do great, but we always try to do better, I think. And I think we actually have made a lot of improvements throughout our community, because I think more people understand the power of that.
I think so. I think we've got some really good collaborative efforts going on.
Any other questions you're going to throw?
Let's see. I think that might be it for right now. There's some of them are repetitive and mentions of who we should feature and what's going on. And there was a development question, I thought, but that might have been related to the Browns Lane.
Could have been. Could have been. Keep sending your questions, and we will keep answering them.
What book do you have this week?
Well, the book that I have this week is probably about one of my favorite places in Gallatin, and I've read it, but I think everyone should read it because it's a good opportunity to learn so much, again, about our community and about a very important property that exists here. This is Josephus Kahn Guild in Rosemont, written by Walter Durham. You may have heard us talk about him before, but he was the state historian at one point, certainly our local historian, and he wrote several wonderful books, and this was one of them. And so this tells the story. The subtitle on it is Politics and Plantation in 19th Century Tennessee. But Rosemont still stands. It is on Southwater Avenue. It's actually owned by the city and managed by a board of directors, and it's a favorite venue for events, weddings, that kind of thing. But Josephus Kahn Guild was a very interesting man. Lots of great stories about horses, what he did about the bringing the railroad to the area. He was a judge in our community, and I think you'll find the story interesting. So that would be my book feature of the week. Kim, talk about what's coming up.
Oh, a lot
the
of things
community.
coming up. Something that's happening this Friday, it's not necessarily open to the public, but if you have a middle schooler in Sumner County, then you should be excited to know that they're participating in the annual Career Exploration Fair at Volunteer State Community College. So we have a committee that gets together and we bus all Sumner County 8th graders to Vol State for them to meet with area experts and career professionals in different career paths that they've based on testing. And so they get to spend a few hours there and interview and learn about different career paths. So it's really fun. I've enjoyed being a part of that.
So I got to be a part of it back in the early days, and it was a neat opportunity. And they actually do coursework related to it kind of before and after. So I think it's a good opportunity for students to get them start to think about what they'd like to do.
We moved it up this year. Historically, we've done it in May, but as you know, most students are checked out in May. I think ours is already checked out and it's, February. But this way they have a little bit more time with them before they leave for high school. So we're excited about that. We've also got some other stuff coming out.
This weekend is the Artifact Show.
Is, yes.
That's a fun opportunity if you like things that come from the earth. They're
Arrowheads.
Arrowheads.
But they have coins.
They have coins. They actually have, what do you call the little balls they shot out of guns back in the day? But it's a lot of stuff that people have found that are artifacts of history. But then there's other things that are probably just historical that someone's hung on to. But it's interesting to go and see and learn about them, ask questions, and find what's local to our area.
And it's at the Civic Center, and people come from all over, too. We get a lot of calls. Next week, next Friday, we have our Good Morning Gallatin. It's our government relations series. The Chamber's been producing that event for over 40 years, I think.
I think it probably is. I know that Mr. Mayberry said over 20 years, for 10 years at least, and it's been several years since that.
So we kind of changed up the format this year. We kicked off in January with Governor Bill Lee right here in Gallatin. And so this month we are doing a county update. We'll have County Mayor Anthony Holt with us, and as well as our state legislators to give some updates on what's going on in the Hill. So that's 7:30 next Friday at the Hilton Garden Inn.
And then also on that day, and on the 29th, this is something that sounds very interesting. It's called Shake, Rattle, and Roll, and it's happening at the Palace Theater, featuring the music of Johnny Cash, Jerry Lee Lewis, Carl Perkins, and Elvis Presley impersonators. So should be fun, 7 o'clock at the Palace Theater. And then do you know about that one?
Oh, I do. Pinot and Purses. And so it's on March 2nd, and it's at Bluegrass Country Club in Hendersonville, but it's the annual Women Building the Community event that Habitat for Humanity hosts. Habitat for Humanity does a lot of great work in Gallatin and in Sumner County. And so this is an event just for the ladies to get together and Pinot and Purses. So I think that tells me there will be wine and maybe shopping.
Yeah, works for me.
Yeah.
I did get asked, I think you've done it before, but I did get asked, they have a hammering contest each year.
I didn't get asked, but I've lost like 3 consecutive years, so I'm probably no fun to watch anymore.
Well, I've never done it, and it'll be interesting to see how I can do it. What's going to hurt me is you have to wear gloves.
Maybe we can get a clip of that and put it on the show.
Oh, yes. I think people would really enjoy that. Well, I think that's about all this go round, so we'll look forward to seeing you again next week. Thanks for watching Baker and Brown.
Yeah, tune back in.